Hello everybody, it's great to be here, and I am Gail and this is
Dirk Lagerwaard.
And we are here together to give you our 5 tips. But because we're together, you're going to get double your money's worth and you're going to get 10 tips.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So we hope you're ready.
And it is just fabulous using this amazing board. So we are going to start off, Dirk.
Great, thank you, Gail. Now, the first thing we would like you to understand is obviously we always look for ways to actually enable our students to express themselves. But often due to a lack of time and so many things that we have to do as teachers, what I often find is that we often just follow the book.
Exactly.
It's the easiest way to follow the curriculum.
Yeah.
So, but we often forget that materials should actually always be a tool in order to enable our students to express themselves, right? Do you think it's a good first one?
I think so, and to engage them as well. So I'm going to write that
Right.
up here.
Okay.
So, materials. There we are. Thank you very much, Dirk.
Wonderful.
Okay,
Great.
so I'm going to do the next one, and I think both of us talked about this in the panel actually, Dirk. And that is at the beginning of the school year or the beginning of a new class, beginning of a new term, create a class contract. That is negotiated with the students, so they are part of it. And this will help you set the ground rules so that you all agree to them and sign up to them so that you're all respecting each other. And it's an extremely useful, I think, the classroom management tool.
Yeah, definitely, because by doing that, I think you're not the only one accountable for what takes place in the classroom.
Absolutely, everybody's accountable. So do you want to write up class contract?
Let's see. Oh, I'm not so sure if my handwriting is just as beautiful as yours.
Yeah, I hope
Class.
you can read
I'm making an effort.
I've got these beautiful colours on this wonderful board.
Contract.
So cool, I love it.
Yeah, this is sweet.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
So, the next one, Dirk?
Right, so it's kind of similar to this class contract. I think it is really important for teachers to actually work on their interaction. Because when we, for example, let's say, when we only teach by the book, you only say or tell your students to do, okay, today we do exercise 1 until 3, then we correct them, and then students leave. But if I do not relate myself to you, you never have the opportunity to get to know me, and vice versa.
That connection is so important, isn't it? To build those relationships, those positive relationships with the students.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to write that up, and that is interaction. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Interaction. Okay, thank you.
Okay. What would you add? How would you continue this?
So my next tip is be transparent. And by that, I mean, let's share information with our learners about learning that often, we've kept to ourselves, as the sole preserve of the teacher. You know, like how many times do we actually really inform our learners of the aims of an activity? So they become clear about exactly what we're doing. It's transparent. Learning becomes, in the words of John Hattie, learning becomes visible. Everybody knows what they're doing, why they're doing it, and the purpose of the activities. And it makes it so much more meaningful, doesn't it?
Definitely.
And you'll get much more engagement from your students.
Yeah,
So
they have something to work
transparent.
towards. They have something to work towards.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. Everybody knows where they're going, or what they're doing, and where their learning is leading to.
Makes it a lot easier, I believe, for the teacher as well, because, and I think that would be the 5th point. I think that it would be great, like when you have a certain goal, instead of just explaining the knowledge as a teacher, like giving away knowledge. Today we're going to do the past simple and explain about the past simple. It'd be great actually to see what the students already know from the language.
Exactly.
Open the doors to let them interact with one another.
Yeah, starting from where they're at.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they already know a lot more than we often think.
Absolutely, we should never underestimate our learners, never. So that one is
I would say creating knowledge. Together. Yeah.
Lovely. Okay. Okay, creating knowledge. Whoops. Sorry about my handwriting. I'm going to put together there.
It looks nice, all the colours like that.
Oh, they do look lovely, don't they?
Good stuff.
Okay, so my next one then is, this is a quick one really, it's common sense. Be flexible. We all say write lesson plans, but you don't have to stick to them rigidly. Go with the flow, go with your learners. If you notice that an activity is not working very well, don't pursue it just because you think I've got to do that. Perhaps change activities, and don't forget that what might work for one student might not necessarily work for another student. So do be flexible, and I think that does come also with confidence, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And closely related to that as well, I would say you actually personalize learning.
Absolutely.
Right, in
yes,
itself.
So important.
by being flexible yourself,
Yes.
you make the lesson more personal for yourself as well. So it's not you following the textbook or the students following the textbook. We all are involved in a very personal process of actually learning a language.
Yeah, and students feel part of that, and they take ownership.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I always believe that we first have to open the doors for students as well. We're the first one to open these doors for them in order to actually look for ways in which they feel safe enough to learn how to express themselves.
Exactly.
So personalized learning would be my next step.
Okay. So personalized learning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
We're doing great so far.
All right.
7 already.
Now.
3 to go.
Okay. So the next one for me is to give constructive praise. We very often say, "Great, excellent, well done," but do the students know why it's great? Do they know why it's excellent? Do they know why they're getting a well done? It's often termed as empty praise. It doesn't really tell them anything about the learning. It's also called process praise. So you want to kind of it's quite difficult actually to do. You need to practice it, but you need to transform your goods and your excellence to good work. I really noticed the way you worked on putting the third person S on the simple present. Well done. So that the students know what the praise is connected to, and it helps move their learning forward. Definitely. So that one is process praise or constructive praise.
Constructive praise.
Yes.
Constructive praise.
Yes. Carol Dweck has written a lot about this if you want to follow up anything on constructive praise or process praise. So the next one, Dirk, I think that's from you.
Just to add a little something to the constructive praise, what I really like about constructive praise is that you let them know, right, what you're praising them for. But at the same time, what I always like to do as well during my lessons is when they learn how to express themselves, to first actually value or show you really appreciate the creation in itself first, right? So you actually do not give them the feeling that you are judging them for the people who they are.
Yeah, and the effort they put into it, because one child may be trying really, really hard, and it's that effort that counts. So it's really important.
Yeah, and then making mistakes is part of actually learning a language. And
that links, doesn't it, to creating this climate of mutual trust, and where children or our learners do not feel afraid to make a mistake, because they're actually opportunities for learning.
Exactly.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yes.
Wonderful. So, very closely related to this is if we want our students to enable themselves how to actually express themselves on their terms in a foreign language, we as teachers should be giving an example as well.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid to actually be yourself in the classroom, because eventually you're the example that they are following in the classroom. But you can only show your true self if you relate yourself with your students, I believe.
Yes.
So it all comes back to the importance of interaction, right? And opening the doors towards the learners' voices, maybe.
You know what? These all kind of overlap and link together. Okay, fantastic. So be yourself. And now number 10.
Let's go. Give it to them.
I wonder if you can guess what number 10 is going to be. Well, it's going to be review learning. Do not forget to review learning. This is such a neglected strategy in the English language teaching classroom. Spend those last 5 minutes not introducing another new activity, but summing up and reviewing what the learners have done. So again, it links to making learning visible. They know what they've done, they know what they've learned, and they know what they need to do next. And they also learn from listening to each other, talking about their learning. So don't forget to build that stage in. Now that stage doesn't need to take more than 5 minutes, but it is a very, very worthwhile and effective strategy. but you need to plan it, and you need to have excellent time management skills. Keep your eye on the watch, on your watch during a lesson. Don't let the bell ring and then say, bye students, see you next week. No, it's stop, review, and then say goodbye, and then the students come back for the next lesson, and the cycle can carry on, and you can say, what did we do last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny to see how actually then autonomy and agency are really closely related.
They are so linked, aren't
because if you really look for ways to enable your students to express themselves consciously in the foreign language on their terms, you could never get there without giving students the autonomy and to actually work their way through the process to get there.
And it also all reflects that each student is unique, a unique individual, and we mustn't forget that.
No.
Yeah.
So let's empower our students. Let's enable them.
Yeah. There we go. That's double 10 teaching tips.
All
from Gail
yours.
and Dirk.
They're all yours. And all thanks to this wonderful board we have been using today.
We love it. We absolutely. I want to take one back to France.
Yeah, it doesn't fit in the suitcase though.
No.
Doesn't fit.
No. Okay. Bye everybody.
Bye. Take care. See you. That was pretty good. That was pretty good.